Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Deva Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shuklam Gurave Sarvalokanam Vishvaprogramam Guru Vidyam Dakshinamurti Namah Vakradanda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvighram Gurame Devatrapagari Suvadagajan Bhudaganam Sivitunga Vidyam Bhavradhara Vachinam Masadam Shoka Vinashakaram Namavignesh Prabhata शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्ते व्यासम् अष्टनप्तारं जगते पौत्रमकल्मषं भ्राजरात्मनं देशगदातं तपोनिधिं व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मणवे वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. In the previous last class, we have seen how Pandavas escaped from the house with the fire. So they had Vidura told them what's going to happen, and Vidura helped them with a tunnel, and Pandavas set fire to the house and escaped from there. Bhima carried all the Pandavas, and then they went to a deep forest, crossing river Ganga. They went to a deep forest. There they come across a Rakshasa called Hidimba. Hidimba's sister comes first. She falls in love with Bhima, and then Hidimba comes and Bhima fights with him and kills him. Hidimba marries Bhima, and they have a son called Ghatotkaja. And after that, Vyasa comes. Vyasa tells them to go to nearby town called Ekachakra, and he asks them to live there for some time. And then Vyasa in that village introduced a Brahmana family where Pandavas live in that house. So let's look what happens after that. Pandavas in that house lived for quite some time, and they were living as Brahmanas. And while they were living like that, one day Bhima and Kunti, when they were at home, they hear a huge scream, loud scream from that house, Brahmana's house. Kunti goes there thinking whatever that happened, we have to look after them. And she goes there and she's the Brahmana lamenting about his misfortune. He was saying what the next steps he need to take, whether he can go or whether he need to send his wife or whether he need to send one of his children, what he's going to do. He was trying to do that. And then thinking while he was saying that, his wife makes her own case. She says that he should not grieve, he should not be sorrow, because he is the person who knows that everything that's inevitable is going to happen, and people should not cry for wife, children, and so on. She says that it is her duty to protect her husband and help him, so she will go. And she says that she has given him everything, including the children, so it is her duty is done, she can go now. And with that, she argues that even if she leaves, he can marry once more and he can continue with his acquiring religious merit. Whatever he need to do, sacrifice or whatever it is, he can continue to do that. Then the daughter says that she wants to go instead of sending her one of her parents going there, because she says it is her duty to look after her parents. And she says that children help rescue their parents here in this world and also after their death. So that's why they are called Putra. And she says that daughter is anyway going to be given away to after her marriage. So let her go now. Hearing this, their son, who's very young at that point, he picks up the grass and says, here is my sword and I'm going to kill that Rakshasa. Everybody in the family laughs at his innocent speech. And at that time, Kunti goes and tells them that, understands what it is. There is a Rakshasa named Baka who agreed with the people of the town that he will not kill anybody if they send him food regularly. So they are supposed to send him one cartload, one truckload full of rice, 2 buffaloes and a human being. They used to send that, and villagers used to send one home after another home, used to send that food to them. So Brahmana explains that he doesn't know whom to send and he doesn't have the wealth to buy a man to send for Baka. So he is at he is thinking he will go tomorrow. Kunti at that time says that she will never let a Brahmana die in front of her, and especially as a guest, it is her duty now to look after her host. And so she says that she will send one of her children there. So she tells the Brahmana that one of her children knows some special mantras, so he will overcome the Rakshasas. And then she goes and tells everything to Bhima. And when Yudhishthira returns, he asks questions Kunti, why did she decide to sacrifice one of her children? Kunti explains that it is their duty as Kshatriyas to protect the Brahmanas, and it is also that Bhima is strong. He carried all the 5 Pandavas, and Kunti from that fire, and also he killed Hidimba. So Kunti says that we should never move away from our duty, and so I'm not doing this for fame or anything. It is to protect the Brahmana. And with that, everyone agrees. Bhima takes his food. Cart full of food. He goes there and calls out Baka, but he starts eating himself. He eats all the food. When he was about to finish, Baka comes out. He becomes very angry and he starts to hit Bhima. Bhima stops him from one hand, continues to eat. He finishes his meal and then washes his hand and then starts fighting. They start throwing trees one after another to each other. They pick up trees one and then throw it at other, and then like that they empty the entire forest there. Finally, they start dragging one another, and then Bhima realizes that Baka is tired, so he holds him on his throat, bends him backwards, and folds him into 2, and then Baka, roaring, vomiting blood, he dies. He screams. Immediately, all his attendants and relatives, everybody come there. They were about to fight Bhima, but then looking at Bhima and him killing Baka, they all got scared. So Bhima agrees to let them go on the condition that they will not eat humans. And Bhima puts Baka's body on the gates of the town, and he quietly goes to his home and informs everything to Yudhishthira. Next day, villagers start seeing the Baka's body, and then the message spreads, and finally they realize that this Brahmana's house were the last people who sent food, so they will go and inquire. The Brahmana says that I have some guests who know some special mantra. He actually killed that Rakshasa. So like that, Pandavas continue to live there. One day, visiting a Brahmana comes to their house, and that Brahmana, while sitting there, Kunti and others ask about his experiences, and the Brahmana starts explaining about what he saw, what he heard in Panchala kingdom, where a Swayamvara was arranged by Yajnasena. Yajnasena is another name for Drupada, and the birth of his children, Drishtadyumna, Shikandi, and Krishna. Pandavas ask all about this. At that time, he starts explaining how Drona was born from Bharadwaja Rishi, and then Drona spending his youth with Drupada, and then him acquiring all the weapons from Agnivesha, and then from Parashurama, and then getting humiliated by Drupada that he didn't have equal friendship. So Drupada agrees with Drona, and then goes to Hastinapura. He teaches Dhritarashtra's sons, Pandavas, and other princes, and then he demands Drupada's capture. Arjuna captures him, and Drupada and Drona become friends, but because of that defeat, Drupada had no choice but to accept. He was very much humiliated. He was looking for revenge. He realizes that he can only defeat Brahmana's strength through a Brahmana. So he was looking for a Brahmana who can help him in defeating Drona. So he goes around across all the Brahmana asylums, wherever Brahmanas were staying. He goes there looking for help across river Ganga and Yamuna. Finally comes after so Brahmanas asylum where they were not very strict. So he looks after that, and there he sees two people called Yaja and Upayaja, and Drupada realizes these people can help him. So he becomes very nice to them, giving all the objects, whatever they want of their wish list. And then Drupada one day requests Upayaja to perform a sacrifice where he can defeat Drona. Upayaja says he can't do it, but he says his brother might be tempted. So Drona goes to his brother, Yaja, and Yaja says he offers him 1,000 cows, and Yaja agrees. And with Upayaja, Yaja starts preparing for the sacrifice. And when all the sacrifice preparations for sacrifice started, Yaja was pouring all the ghee and everything else, and he calls Drupada's wife, says, "Come now, drink this ghee." She says, "Give me a little bit of time, I will come and I will drink." Yaja says, "I can't wait. I already poured the ghee and here it is ready. If you don't come, it's fine." He pours that ghee into the fire. Immediately from the fire, two children come out, and first one comes out as a male. He was bright like fire. He's terrible looking, comes with a crown and armor and everything else, holding a sword and bow and arrows. And everybody in the Panchala kingdom who was looking after that, looking at that sacrifice, became very happy that their king's sorrow has gone away because of a son. Then a beautiful daughter comes. She was very good looking, handsome. Her eyes were black, like lotus petals, large eyes. She was dark in looks, her beautiful curly hairs, and she was again most beautiful girl in that time in the entire world, like Lakshmi herself. Then looking at her, once she comes out, a voice in the sky says that this daughter will cause the destruction of many Kshatriyas on earth, and she will accomplish the purpose of the Devas as well. And along with this, she will overtake the Kauravas. Because of her, Kauravas will face danger. And at that time, Drupada's wife requests Yaja that these two children will be in the world. Let them be known as my children, and Yaja agrees to that. Then the Brahmanas name the son as Drishtadyumna because he came with the armor and weapons, and the daughter they name as Krishna because he was of dark color. And then Drupada takes these children to Drona for their Drupada takes Drishtadyumna to Drona because he wanted him to learn the weapons, and Drona, realizing that this child was born to kill him, did not hesitate. He says whatever the destiny that's going to happen is going to happen, and he teaches him like Pandavas and Kauravas, he teaches him everything. So with that, what happens after that, we will see in the next week.